Welcome to the last and the final stage of this chapter of professional ethics, that is Council General Guideline. So the first thing, these guidelines say that these are applicable to all the CAs. Sir, all the CAs, yes. CA in practice or CA in service, it is applicable to all the chartered accountants. Then we talk about chapter number 2. Sir, chapter number 2 is same as your clause 7 part 1 of your second schedule, which said a CA in practice shall be deemed to be guilty of professional misconduct if he fails to exercise. Sir, exercise what? Exercise due diligence or grossly negligent in the conduct of duties. So if it is not a CA in practice but an employee, then in that case chapter 2 will be applicable. Then we discussed about chapter number 5 with the 5 fingers. What do we draw? The books of accounts. So as a CA in practice or a firm of CAs, you need to maintain proper books of accounts, that is the ledger and the cash book. Now chapter 6 for 60 tax audit assignment. That means in a financial year, per year, there is a limit on the acceptance of tax audit per partner, per full-time practicing partner, 60 tax audit are allowed. But when it comes to signing, one single partner can sign all the tax audit report. Now sir, tell us one thing. If there is a partner who has already taken 40 tax audit assignment in some other firm, now in the current firm, how many assignment he can take? 60 minus 40, 20. Got it. Now if there is a company that has one head office, one branch office, another branch office, another branch office and another branch office, how many assignment will you count it? Sir, we will count it as a one assignment because it is a single company having a single pen. Is this part clear to all of you? Yes, sir. Acha, what about 44 AD? What about these audits under presumptive taxation, that is 44 AD, ADA, AE? Sir, these are not counted. You can do unlimited signing of such audits. You can do unlimited acceptance of such audit. Got it, sir. Then comes chapter 7. Chapter 7. Chapter 7 was what? पुराने के साथ, old one के साथ सही नहीं हुआ. You did not do right with the old one. Why? Because you accepted the audit when his undisputed audit fees was not paid. So if you are accepting such audit, you will be guilty under chapter number 7. This was asked in one of your recent RTP questions also, to please make sure you go through it. Now sir, tell us one thing. This undisputed fees is what? It is the one for which provision is made in the financial statement, also includes the expenses incurred by the auditor. But there is one exception, that in case of a sick unit, it is not applicable because sick unit doesn't have money. The losses are exceeding or equal to the net worth. So this is what we discussed in this discussion here also. And also in this case, you will not make the CA guilty under clause 8. You will not make the CA guilty under clause 8 unless the question says that you did not communicate with the previous auditor. Got it, sir? Now let's move to chapter number 8. Chapter number 8 talked about specified number of assignments. So there is a, you can say, some contravention between Chartered Accountant Act and Companies Act. First of all, let's discuss the Companies Act. Companies Act says as an auditor, you can accept 20 financial statement audit. I'm not talking about tax audit. I'm talking about financial statement audit. As an auditor, I can accept 20 financial statement audit. But out of these 20 audits, some companies are given an exemption. These are excluded. Small company, one-person company, dormant company, or a private limited company having paid up share capital less than 100 crore. But when it comes to Chartered Accountant Act, they say this limit is not 20, we are giving you a limit of 30. I said, okay. But in this limit of 30, one-person company is excluded, dormant company is excluded. So I can say, considering both the provisions, one-person company and dormant company, no limit. But when it comes to small company, there is a limit of 30. When it comes to private limited company having a paid up share capital less than 100 crore, again we'll consider a limit of 30. And for others, you will consider the lower of the two, that is 20, and 30, that is 20. Got it, sir? So you just need to consider this summary. That's it for your ease of revision. Now let's talk about chapter number 9. Sir, what was chapter 9 all about? Chapter 9 was saying simple thing. If you are doing audit of a big entity means a government entity, PSU, or a listed entity, or a public company having your turnover greater than equal to 50 crores, then in that case your other fees cannot be more than your audit fees. If your other fees will be more than your audit fees, your focus will shift from audit to other areas and you will not be able to do the audit properly. Did you get this point or not? Yes, sir. So here we discussed one example also. Please go through it. That's all that you need to do. Now, sir, talking about chapter 10. 10 was about indebtedness. Sir, indebtedness means if you, your partner or your relative, come on, you, your partner or your relative is indebted to the entity, then in that case you cannot accept the audit. What is the indebtedness limit? In case the entity is a company, you will have to go by the Companies Act limits, that is 5 lakh and 1 lakh. 5 lakh for direct indebtedness, and in case you have given a guarantee or security for some other indebtedness, then the limit is 1 lakh. In case it is some other entity, like you are doing the audit of a firm, you are doing the audit of a LLP, then in that case amount exceeding 1 lakh you will be guilty. You cannot accept the audit. Now, sir, we discussed about chapter 11, very small chapter. It says in case other last auditor was removed with unjustified reasons, it was an unjustified removal, then in that case you should avoid accepting the audit. Then we started with an amazing chapter that was about networking. Sir, what is networking? Networking is nothing but when few firms come together, they start sharing their professional resources and they form a common, you can say, structure. It is called a networks. How do I identify a network? It must be having the words and affiliates in it. Got it, sir? So what do the networks do? They share the professional resources. Sir, what are the professional resources? How we remembered? It is nothing but a chal kapat. It is nothing but a chal kapat where you are trying to deceive the lawmakers. Kapat means common systems. Got it, sir? Then what is A? Audit methodology. PA for partners and their staff, and then TT for technology and trainings. Come on. Technology and trainings, these are the 5 things that you are sharing. Now, sir, what can be the different ways I can form a network? So it will be a mutual entity, it can be in a form of firm, it can be LLP, or it can be a company. But company will be as per chapter 17 that we have already discussed. Got it, sir? In case of a partnership firm, maximum number of partners will be 20, and each firm is allowed to join only one network. Firms having common partner can also join only that one network. Talking about the naming, very easy part. You apply for the name in the form of A, form A. ICAI approves within how many days? Everything happens within 30 days. Once the name is approved, how do you know it is a network? It must be having and affiliates. Got it, sir? Once the name is approved, within how many days or within how much time the name stays reserved? Sir, the name stays reserved for 3 months. The name stays reserved for 3 months, and within 3 months you need to apply for the registration in form number B. Got it, sir? Similarly, if you want to make a network outside India, you need to find a declaration. D for declaration, D for form number D. Again, within 30 days, you need to file this form. Plus, there were some internal bylaws. Bylaws means management and administration. So these are the first 2 points. You need to have a proper managing of the network. You need to have proper administration of the network. For managing and administration, there will be cost. To recover these costs, what you need? Fees. So there will be contribution to the membership fees to meet the cost. Who will collect this fees? Partner. In case of their dispute, you go to the court. In case of a dispute, you go to the court. Acha. You go to the court. No, sir. It is done in a very lovely solving manner. What is that lovely solving manner? Arbitration and conciliation. Arbitration and conciliation, you don't go to the court, you go to the arbitrator and conciliator, a very simple person, makes you sit and resolves your disputes. Got it, sir? Plus you can have common training material, newsletter and these things. Now, sir, talking about the ethical compliances, very important, huh? Very important. If I was ICAI, I will make a question on this. Let's say there are 3 firms in a network. Network and affiliates is a network. There are 3 firms, firm 1, firm 2 and firm 3. You are the auditor of a company, firm 1. So as a firm 1, can I provide 144 services to this company? The answer is no. Can the other 2 firms of the network provide 144 services of the company? The answer is no. They cannot also provide the section 144 service. Now understand one more thing. There is one more network, network and affiliates. Again, there are 3 firms, firm 1, firm 2, firm 3. Firm 1 is the auditor. So in case I am the auditor and the audit fees is X, what is the maximum non-audit fees I can charge for the other services? Sir, X, up to X is allowed. If it is more than X, then it will be guilty. Got it, sir? So now what about firm 2 and firm 3? That is the other firms of the network. For the other firms, the limit is allowed up to 3X. For the other firms, the limit is allowed up to 3X. So in case the audit fees is 50 lakhs, for the audit firm, it will be up to 50 lakhs. But for others, it will be up to 1.5 CR, that is up to 3X. Third case was again very simple. If on one firm cooling period is applicable, all the firms will be covered by the cooling period. This blue color signifies the cooling period. Cool down, calm down. Baby, calm down. Calm down. Got it, sir. Then you just need to read point 4 and 5, nothing much in that. Now talking about the change in constitution. Change in constitution means new firm entered, old firm gone. New firm entered, old firm gone, exit. Then in that case, form C for change in the constitution, need to file within 30 days. Now, sir, UDIN is necessary for all the documentation. In case a CA doesn't enter a UDIN, you have an option. Either quote clause 9 part 1 second schedule or quote clause 1 part 2 second schedule, that is contravention of a PRG, provision, regulation or guideline. Because it is a contravention of guideline, clause 1 part 2 second schedule can also come in here. Now talking about chapter 16, simple, no logo allowed apart from the logo of chartered accountant. Then we discussed about chapter 17. Again, let's discuss from the notes itself. Notes are classic. We discussed in clause 11 that you can become a director of a company, but you can't become a MD or WTD. But I told you that there is an exception. Exception was chapter 17. Chapter 17 says that you can become a MD, WTD or manager in a management consulting company. Sir, what is a management consulting company? Providing the services of management consultancy and services of section 2, subsection 2, clause 4, that the whole list we read in the first class. Got it, sir? Now, sir, can I hold the shares in the company? Yes, yes. Can I become a promoter in the company? They say yes. Now understand one thing. I am CA Arya. Okay, I am CA Arya. Arya is the managing director of a management consulting company. Can he do so? Chapter 17 allows. Can he become a partner in a CA firm? That is also allowed. Now understand, they are doing the audit of ITC Limited. They are doing the audit of ITC Limited. Can this management consulting company provide section 144 service? The answer is no. Sir, why? Because both these entities are controlled by Arya. Both these entities are controlled by Arya. So the law says this management consulting company can't provide section 144 service. Similarly, same scenario. The auditor is charging 50 lakhs. So what is the maximum fees that the management consulting company can charge for other services? Again, sir, it is up to 50 lakhs. That is the same as the audit fees. Maximum up to audit fees is allowed. Allowed, allowed, sir. Allowed. Then we discussed some recommended self-regulatory measures. Very easy. First of all, what we discussed was, it was about branch audit. Branch audit will be done by small firms having less than 10 partners. Then they said joint audit will be done with the small firms having less than 5 members. 10:5 is equal to 1:5. That means the ratio between qualified and unqualified staff. What will be the ratio? 1:5. That means for every qualified, come on, every qualified, there will be 5 non-qualified. Got it, sir? This non-qualified doesn't include article and audit assistants. It doesn't include the peons. It doesn't include the typists who are not involved in engagement. Plus, you need to disclose your interest as an auditor in case you are providing other services through your another firm in which you are a partner. Then there is some recommended minimum scale of fees. That is again recommendatory, not compulsory. Then we discuss these recent decisions of Ethical Standard Board. You can just read through them. That's all that you need to do. Now talking about the disciplinary proceedings. Very simple. First of all, someone will complain, and with a fees he will complain to disciplinary directorate. If the disciplinary directorate feels the person is guilty, in which clause? First schedule, he will go to body. Body feels he is guilty, reprimand the member, removal of name up to 3 months, and fine up to ₹1 lakh. If he feels he is guilty in second schedule or both, go to the disciplinary committee. Again, check the person is guilty or not guilty. Again, he is guilty, reprimand the member. But here the removal of name can be done infinitely. It can be done permanently, and also a fine up to ₹5 lakh. If he feels the person is not guilty, again check with Board of Discipline. Board of Discipline agrees, close the matter. He rejects, advise Directorate Discipline to investigate further. He feels he is guilty, the person is guilty under first schedule, take up the matter. Guilty under second schedule or both, give it to DC. If you are not satisfied with this, then you can appeal to the appellate authority within 90 days. Then they can pass these following order: confirm the order, set aside the order, modify the order. Penalty: impose the penalty, set aside the penalty, increase the penalty, reduce the penalty, or order as it deem fit, or it can refer back the order to these committees. Okay? So that's all that you need to consider. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for attending this revision. 14 minutes 30 seconds it took us. If you go through these decisions also, it will not take you more than 4-5 minutes, and that's all that you need to do. That's all that you need to do. Thanks a lot for attending the revision. Have a great day ahead, and yes, please keep studying. Study with a smile on your face. Study with happiness, because when we study with happiness, then only we progress. All the best. Take care.